So we got the recording going, and then we'll do the intro because it's all official now.
Welcome to Photography Chat with Merlin. Photography Chat with Merlin.
You have lots of fans. Welcome to another episode of Photography Chat. We're in season 3. This is episode 5 with Nicole. Where are you at right now?
I'm in Halifax.
Nice. How's Halifax?
It's amazing. I love it here. I came here for work, and I love the people so much, I stayed.
I've heard it's beautiful. I've only been there once, and I really dug it.
The people and the gym. I got to rep Q Rules here. Queensberry Rules is my gym.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't do any sort of interview anymore. If I'm going to say I'm from Halifax, I got to rep where I work. So
there you
that's
go.
Where I am.
Someone has a question here for you. Are you going to make another Piowacket?
Another one? Probably not.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
One's plenty, right?
Yeah, that was good enough. I mean, I'd like to work with Adam again, but I don't think it'll be Piowacket 2. I don't think he's willing to do a second one of that. Who knows, though? I'd be happy to work with him, though. Anything along those lines. I like psychological thrillers. I'll do that again, that's for sure.
Very cool. You had a question for me before I started the recording there about, I think, the neighborhood or office or something.
Yeah, okay, so you said you're in Mount Pleasant, but where's your new studio? That's also in Mount Pleasant, isn't it?
Yeah, so I'm kind of, like, where I live is closer to Ridley Park. It's like right by Nat Bailey Stadium, but the studio is more towards downtown. It's in the old City Center Motel, which is, I think, like Main and 6th or something like that. The one with the neon, like when you're driving up Main, it had like cool neon and stuff.
I know the one. I lived right beside it.
Wild.
I'm just wondering if you're in it or not. That's pretty cool.
I am in it, which was kind of funny because I mentioned it to one of my old bosses in Vancouver here. And he's like, that's so cool that you have a studio. Where is it? And I told him it was in that motel. And he's like, oh my God, no, please tell me it's not Unit 210. And I was like, what happened in Unit 210? Completely disregarded.
Murder happened in Unit 210.
Probably. Like, I mean, it's a low budget motel that's been around since the 1950s. So it's obviously seen some shit in its time. Like,
it was the prequel to Piowacket.
It could have been, absolutely. When I pulled the carpet up, I was pretty convinced that at least a murder or two had happened in my unit. It was pretty disgusting.
Well, that's not great. I'm doing renos too, but I'm hoping not to find any previous murders.
Well, I think Halifax is a little friendlier than like East Vancouver could be, so you're probably
everybody. I'm hoping everybody seems nice here, but you know, every time you watch a movie, it's always the neighborhoods with the nicest people that are the ones that kill their neighbors.
Well,
so
I mean,
I'm just crossing my fingers.
You're the new person in the neighborhood that's probably the most mysterious person there, so.
Yeah, I'm raising the most eyebrows.
Yeah, there you go. Someone asked, can you believe many people, including me, prefer to call you Jack than to call you your real name?
Yeah, I can totally believe that. Jack's my name on Van Helsing. Makes the most sense. That's how you know me. And that's how I know me that way too. And I'll answer to either.
Interesting. Well, you'll always be Nicole to me.
Yeah, to you. Yeah, that makes the most sense. I don't know if I'd answer if you called me Jack, but if other people did, that would make sense.
I think I would feel weird calling you Jack. Yeah.
No, that would be weird.
And then someone says, I've always wanted to go to Canada. You guys seem much more friendly than most of us Americans. I don't know. If not this week.
Depends where in Canada you are. We're very friendly, I'd say.
Yeah,
You
we're
know.
we're kind of friendly. Just stay away from white people.
Look, I moved to Halifax because of how friendly everybody was. I was like stunned. And when my family came to visit me, they were also stunned just by the general culture of how friendly everybody was. It's even surprising within Canada.
I did remember that it was quite friendly. The day and a half I spent there. Someone
Yeah.
asks, "Are you Filipino?" I don't think you are.
No, I'm Spanish and French.
I'm Filipino and French, so then there's at least one Filipino here.
We got one. Hey, just as a pause, I gotta tell you, I'm on LTE right now. If things get fuzzy, let me know. I'll switch right over to Wi-Fi.
Okay, no worry. It looks good right now. You're coming in loud and clear. So, someone said the Freedom Truckers make parts seem like the U.S. right now. I totally agree. Someone asked, "How do you stand the cold in Canada?"
Sweaters, lots of hoodies and sweaters.
Yeah,
It's not too bad over here, really.
fireplaces are nice too.
My house was heated. Recently ran out of oil. Didn't know that my house ran on oil. I mean, I knew it had oil, but I didn't know it. It was up to me to refill it. Found that out the other day. so I learned that lesson pretty quick. That's how I stay warm.
That's wild. Someone says here, "I think we were in the same film and television in high school with Mrs. Radcliffe."
Yes, we were. Who's that? Who said that?
Rye the plant guy.
Well, I don't know who the bad guy is, but I'll say yeah. We definitely were. Pretty sure I almost got kicked out of that class because I kept falling asleep in the bleachers.
In the bleachers?
Well, the seats.
Oh, that's
you
fair.
think you think I'd know what that's called. Anyways, it was a long time ago. Whoever that was.
Not really
Nice
a
to see you
question,
again.
but apparently Netflix misses you.
Well, I miss Netflix, but there's lots of me on Netflix right now. I just gotta look up Van Helsing or Two Sentence Horror Stories is also on Netflix right now. I think that's kind of all there is. There might be others that I. Oh, Once Upon a Time might still be on Netflix. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I haven't really caught up. I don't
terrible.
really Google myself that often, so I'm not quite sure where I am on the internet. Somewhere
I'm a
there, though.
terrible friend because I actually haven't watched it yet at all.
That makes you a good friend. Don't
Okay.
worry about it. Yeah.
I've been really addicted to the Blacklist lately, so that's been taking up a huge chunk of my time.
I haven't seen it, but I'll add it to my watch list.
It's good mostly because I like James Spader. The thing that's funny about James Spader, though, is I don't know if he's really an actor or not, because James Spader is just James Spader in everything he does. There's no real difference to it. He's just James Spader in everything. And some people might not like that. I think James Spader is great because I like how weird he is, so I enjoy the things that he's a part of.
I'm gonna have to watch him because I have no idea who you're talking about, but I'll look him up. Sorry.
When you see him, you'll recognize him. He's been in a lot of stuff. He's been acting for quite some time. Really interesting actor. Very odd man. And his interviews are hilarious, too. I get a kick out of it because he just, completely disregards questions that are given to him and just kind of, talks on his own tangent. And the people interviewing him just have to keep up, which I think is hilarious.
That's the best kind. You're supposed to answer the question you want to answer. Something along those lines. You know what I mean?
I like
don't
that.
know. Something like that. You're supposed to disregard the one you hear and then reply with what you want. That's all the 10 years of PR. That's what I've gathered from that.
And then someone wants to know if you would ever go to the UK. I think you were in Europe not long ago, right?
I was in Europe, but I wasn't in the UK. That is high up on my list. Ideally, I'd go for school or work. So I'm waiting on either one, really.
That'd be
We'll
very
see.
cool.
The current school I'd like to go to is in France, but then I would hop over to England after that. But
What school's
we'll
that?
see. Goliath, it's a clown school.
A clown school.
Like the type of acting, like clown acting. That's a horrible explanation of what that is, but that's what I would really like to go do. And you know that. You know I love clowns.
I know.
And,
The very first time that I met you was a night at Space Lab, and you had just procured this like terrifying clown painting.
it's in my studio. It's the only thing I have in my studio.
Really, that's the only thing you brought to Halifax with you?
Well, I brought my backdrop, my camera, my microphone, and my clown painting. It's what I look at. It's my inspiration.
That's kind of hilarious.
Yeah, I love that guy. And, I had bought two of them, and one of them I actually gave up to. My sister had a date one time that came over to my house, and I was getting rid of lots of things, and he was so enamored by the clown painting, and I had bought two with you, and one of them was very creepy to me, and he was so enamored by the creepy one, and I was like, go for it. You can take that. Like, just take it. Get it out of my house. And he took it, and I haven't seen him or heard from him since. I hope he's okay. I hope that thing didn't curse him or anything along those lines.
The clown painting may have murdered him.
Yeah, I'm hoping it didn't. I got the good one. That one came with me to Halifax. That is probably like in my top 3 most prized possessions, honestly. Thank you, Clint.
Well, he does have some new clown paintings, so the next time you're in Vancouver, you might have to re-up on your clowns.
I saw that. You sent me that picture, and I will re-up. I'm coming this month, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. I'll have the studio done by then. I was just moving furniture into it today. And Evan's going to come... Did you spill on yourself?
No.
I didn't see anything.
Okay, nobody did.
Yeah, it'll be all mostly ready to go like this weekend, but then Evan's going to come and help do the work in the bathroom to do the conversion over to a dark room. So
Evan's coming? Evan's going to do that?
Yeah, he's been helping with that because I'm not terribly talented with woodworking, and I kind of thought I could buy all of the tools and then spend all this time and money fucking it up, or I could just pay Evan to do it really quickly.
I think you made the right choice.
Yeah, and I like Evan too. He's hilarious. I get a kick out of hanging out with him, and it's nice to get to know Potato's dad a little bit more.
I'm excited for an original Evan piece one day in my living room.
He's very talented.
I know he is. I can't wait. He's like core memory for me, and so is Potato, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Potato is hilarious. She's got so much character. For everyone that doesn't know, Potato is a sweet mutt owned by a mutual friend of ours who is like the friendliest dog ever and also has a massive penchant for eating shit off of the sidewalk.
Like most dogs.
She seems to like pigeon shit a lot, which there's plenty of that in Chinatown, so, you know.
She's in luck.
She is in luck. Yeah, so it'll be cool to see you when you get out here. So I know probably a lot of the people watching right now know you as an actress, and your work in Van Helsing and Pyewacket and all of that. But some of them may not be aware that you're also a wicked awesome photographer.
Oh yeah, I was dreading the fact that you were going to bring up photography.
Why dreading?
Because I own cameras and I take photos. I don't know if I consider myself a photographer, but I do enjoy it, and it has helped me through a lot of periods in my life. But I don't necessarily know. I think I'm pretty lucky that I have an eye, if we're going to even frame it as such. Probably just because I've grown up around movie sets.
You definitely do have an eye, and it's like, I don't call myself a photographer. I don't really like that moniker. I feel weird when I call myself that. I use a camera to like do stuff and have fun with it, but it's yeah. I get why you feel weird about it. But what got you started with photography?
I think it was around 2015, 2016. I mean, what probably actually got me started was my upbringing in film. Really, it's definitely my time around cameras and all the lingo. But I personally started mostly as like a self-help project of leaving the house because I was not in a mental space where I was willing to leave my house. And then there's these things like disposable cameras where there's like 24, 26 frames that you just gotta fill. And I decided, if I can get 26 frames shot in a week, then that means I've left my house a few times, and that's a pretty big win. And that's how I started. And it allowed me to meet people and experience things and kind of get out of my box and talk to people, ask to take their portrait, or just dogs on the street. It was just like a reason to get out, and it kind of, the adrenaline gets there, or you just enjoy the fresh air, really. But it was just it was something I really enjoyed doing. I mean, the first roll of camera the first roll I got printed was all brown because I didn't realize my finger was in front of the lens the entire time. So like I had 26 shots of my finger. But after that I learned my lesson.
Well, you got to start somewhere, right?
Everybody starts somewhere, and that's where I started with my finger. It was a self-portrait, really.
There you go. A series of self-portraits. You could make a book out of it,
One day.
Because that's art. You could just be like, my inspiration for this was, an exploration of self from a different kind of view sort of thing. And you could really ham it up and make some money with it.
It'll be in chapters in like 2042.
There you go.
Yeah.
You gotta have some ambition, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's in my dream board. Nicole Munoz, as seen.
There you go. Someone had a really good question here. He said, "Hey Nicole, it's Demi. Can you remember the first photo you'd ever taken?"
No. But it was definitely probably of a close friend of mine, or might have just been a picture of myself, actually, because I was so shy to take a camera out. So it would have had to be somebody I trusted, or would have just been myself in a mirror, or at the time I had a pet, so it could have been my pet. But that's about it, because I was very, very shy with my camera, and I still am. I have tons of cameras, and I never take them out because it is quite the chore to gain the confidence to be out there with a camera, to be honest.
You just feel self-conscious when you go out with a camera then, or?
Yeah, definitely. Because, when you walk outside with a camera, at least to me, it like shows that, you have some like self-worth, and you're out there and you're like, this is my thing. I'm documenting my life. Let me like snapshot you forever if you're going to point it at a stranger or something. And it takes a lot of guts, and honestly, some days I don't have it, and some days I do. But it really depends on the day. And for some reason, getting a digital camera helped me out with that a bit, because it's the safety blanket of being like, oh, don't worry, I can delete it, sir or ma'am or whoever I'm talking to. Or if I started taking pictures of pets often. That was pre-COVID, because it was really easy to walk up to people and say, like, can I take a picture of your dog, please? Because everybody wants a picture of their dog.
Yeah.
So that was a really easy ask for me. And I had a little business card that linked to a website that was just a Gmail address I had that I could just send them the picture I took of their animal. But that was a good way for me. Photography was always, for me, a way to get out there and practice my social skills. Because even though I'm an actor, acting to me is a very private practice. So I really needed to practice the social aspect of it.
Yeah.
So that photography was my way into that.
I remember the last time we went for a photo walk, you were taking pictures of dogs on Commercial Drive.
Yeah.
That was a nice day.
I, that was a nice day. There actually is a picture of we took a picture of a schnauzer, which is my family dog growing up, and I still have that picture. I really like it because
Nice.
he looks very stunned. He's looking right in the camera. It's one of my favorites.
I I did a similar thing too, where I have like a little business card that I give people if I take a photo of them, just to say like, you know, I may put it on Instagram. This is where you can find it, and if you hate it, this is how you can get a hold of me to like tell me you hate it, and I can take it off for you. That's helped a bit.
Yeah, it just adds a little bit of at least to me, it was a bit of confidence. It's kind of a security blanket. It makes the other people feel safe, makes you feel safe. It's like kind of a foolproof way to go ahead. Mine was straight up just a Gmail address. I just printed it on my printer. I just kind of cut it out in 12s or whatever it was and called it a day. It wasn't really a business card, but we'll call it a business card.
Hey, it worked, right?
Yeah, you know, it got me out. And there was a day where I was having such a bad day, and I went to the park I normally go to take pictures of dogs. And this is going to sound really creepy, but a van pulled up, and the door just slid open, and like 7 puppies came out. But it was like the sweetest day, and I just took tons of pictures of all these little puppies, and there was the mom, of course, and the owner was there. They're very, very friendly. They were about to get sent off to their people, but before they were sent off to their people, they had a day at the park, and I got to photograph all that. So it was pretty cool.
That's really
so
cool.
You never know. That's why it's worth taking a camera everywhere, because you never know what you're going to get.
Exactly. Like I take a camera with me everywhere because it's like an emotional safety blanket. So even if I don't end up taking a picture, it just comes with me.
Yeah, I totally get that. That's why I said in our blurb, like, it's attached on my hip, because I go to a party or I go out with people, and it just, the fact that it's there, is a huge conversation starter, and it's something I know a little bit about, at least, and it's something that I can speak on. Or what I did the other day is I took it out and I walked around, and I'll definitely have like 6 photos on there at least where I could talk about what happened. It's a great way to kind of get you out of your shell, at least for me.
I can relate to that as well. I know that you have your big girl camera, the Fuji, but you said you had some other cameras too.
I don't know if you can see it very well, but here's my like shelves these are most of my cameras.
You got quite the collection going on there.
These are some of them. I haven't unpacked everything, but that's the majority of my film cameras. The Fuji really is what I go with most of the time, and if not, I really do love the point and shoots, like the the shitty ones you buy at London Drugs. I have all these other ones. I still have to follow the YouTube tutorial of how to load film, to be honest. That's about the level I'm at.
You just need to shoot more film. That's all that means.
Yeah, I think I definitely need to start shooting more film. It's been a while. To be honest, I'm definitely in that kind of rut where I haven't. I'm not where I'm not where I would like to be in terms of like creative freedom, and I would love to take a lot more photos. And I have everything I need right here, and I just haven't done it yet. So it just takes time. You just got to be patient with yourself, be a little bit forgiving, and so working on that.
Yeah, it does take time for sure. Like I've been struggling a bit with the creativity stuff since moving back to Vancouver. So I'm hoping that the studio will help with that a little bit.
I think your studio will. You just energy-wise in general, you're in quite a fantastic location.
Yeah, and it seems really interesting too. There's a lot of different folks that are in there. Like there's a couple of other photographers, some videographers, some industrial designers, some fashion designers, 2 tattoo people that I know of so far. Like it's going to be quite the diverse crowd, and it's also being run by Vancouver Mural Fest. So They have a bunch
Cool.
of stuff planned for the spring and summer where I think at some point they're going to paint the whole thing, which will be
Yep.
kind of cool. And, COVID willing, they'll probably have some sort of public events or whatnot. Being British Columbia, it'll just happen regardless anyways, because, what are restrictions?
Yep, that's
Yeah.
about right.
Yeah, because I mean, the Maritimes, you guys have had some like very strict lockdown kind of stuff out there.
Yeah, and for the better, we're just trying to be safe and do what we have to do. Especially the Maritimes. I mean, just generally the population here is a bit older. And I do think it's kind of the young person's duty to take care of the older person. So
It's a very responsible way to think about it.
I'm just saying, what is it? Honestly, I'm such an introvert. Like, it's not doing anything for me personally. I'm happy I have to stay home. And it's so cold here. We're all wearing masks anyways, so that's fine.
That's fair. Demi has another question for you too. Would you create an account to upload your photos to? Would love to see your work.
I have 5 accounts. The other 4 are private, and I don't know if I'll ever make them. I think my pet one is public actually, but the other ones are all private. Yeah, and I don't know if I will, just because of the way the industry is. Maybe eventually, or ideally, I'd just like to merge them all into one. I don't think it's necessary to have so many different ones anymore, but just for my own, so I feel comfortable. Like, I have one for photography where I have a lot of my photography friends, and they can look at what I post and just pictures I take that I think are cool. I had the pet one when I thought I was going to make a side hustle with that, and I didn't. And then I have my other one where it's just kind of what we call shit posting. It's just for me and my friends. So it's whatever the hell I want to put up there. And ideally one day it'll be my public profile, but I don't know if I want to bug everybody with that, because I think people that follow my main account just want updates on my actual career, not necessarily what I'm doing in life. So
that's
that.
Totally fair.
Yeah.
Instagram is kind of weird that way. Like, this used to be my personal account, and then when I started using it for photography stuff, it kind of changed into something else completely. So I have a private one, which is just for friends and family and shit posting and personal stuff, and then this is just whatever. I'm a little liberal with the stories, but the posts kind of just stay with just photography related things.
Yeah, I feel you. I don't know. It's kind of cool that you at least have a bit of a creative outlet. Do you have a private account?
I do, yeah. I'll DM it to you later.
I'm not on your private account.
Well, I'm not on your private account, so
All right. I digress.
I'll send you. I'll DM you what that account is, because I used to have it on my profile, just saying personal account, and then I would get all these Russian brides trying to add me, and it's I've been married once, I don't need to do that again, especially to a scammer. So yeah.
Well, you never know. You should leave all your options open. You never know.
No.
Could be interesting. Could be a Netflix deal. Could be a cool script one day. Who knows?
I mean,
You're gonna skip out on this one? Don't need it.
I've made enough poor life choices that there's several books or movies could be made from them. Yeah. When I
sell me the rights, please, before you sell anybody else.
Yeah, I've told a few stories to people, and they're just like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And I'm like, "No, that's just weird things happen to me." Yeah. And then
based on the stories I have heard of you, please let me have the rights first.
We can talk about it. We'll work it out. Where is it here? Film Diary of a Redhead. Brandy, a very good friend of mine, she has a question for you. Now that we know what got you started, what keeps you coming back, and why do you continue to shoot film?
I have a coffee table book, and I say that lightly because it's on my coffee table, and it's a book that I bought. But it's like a empty photo album, and but it's actually just a binder, and I keep buying the filler pages. So it's like a binder from Home Depot, and I buy the filler pages from the photography shop wherever I am. And every time I empty out a wine and shoot, I just load it up into the album, and it makes a great conversation starter. And all of a sudden now, it's been a pretty incredible way to chronicle my life from the mid 2000s, because it's just all my highlights. It's pretty fun because you think you're going to have everybody in your life forever, and sometimes that's not necessarily the case. So it's been a pretty awesome way to keep memories of people, and then to share them with new people that I meet, because I personally forget that who I am today is not who I am tomorrow, and I might meet somebody that is gonna have a huge impact in my life, and that person wants to know who I was, and now here I have a pretty awesome way to show them what I thought was important at the time. So it's kind of fun. It's kind of a cool way to look back at who I am and who I was.
That's very cool.
So that's why I keep going with it, because the benefits are literally right in front of you.
If you like point and shoots a lot, one that I'll definitely recommend you should probably check out and pick one up, because they're so much fun and they're really cheap, is the Lomography Simple Use camera. It looks like a disposable.
I just picked that up. Picked that up. Yeah, I just got one.
They're so much fun. It's just a cool little camera. It has these different filters you can put over the flash, which make when you're using color film, interesting things happen. It's just a piece of garbage plastic, but it takes such fun photos. And I've probably put about 20 or so rolls through it since I got this last year. Are
you reusing the same one?
Yeah, this one you can reuse. The Lomography one.
I didn't know that yet.
So
not there yet.
You when you're ready to develop it, you gotta take the plastic or the sticker off the bottom, and then there's a little button here you flip up, and then you can open the camera up, and that's how you get the film out to develop it. So if you have one of these Lomography ones, don't just drop it off like a disposable. You can take the film out of it, and then you can reload it with new film. And I've shot Cinestill 800 in this a bunch of times, which is probably sacrilegious to some people because the film is worth more than the camera is. But I got some really cool street shots in Toronto, just walking down Queen Street with it, and it's a lot of fun.
I'll definitely do that, because I would have for sure just dropped that off like I usually do, which is just handing them the whole camera and saying thanks.
Yeah, so with the Lomography one, don't do that.
All right, noted. I will empty that.
It's definitely worth keeping.
I have a lot of unfortunately expired Portra, but I'm hoping that might be fun to use.
As long as you've kept it in the fridge or someplace cool and dry, it'll be totally fine.
How about just a Halifax living room? It's pretty cool. It's pretty chill over here.
Yeah, it's probably fine. The best way is just run a roll of it and see what happens. But if you're going to keep film for a while and not use it, ideally you'd want to put it in a fridge or something.
My fridge is at 57. No, my fridge is at 37. My house is at 58. You're right. I take it back.
It's probably fine though.
I'll just try it. We'll see I think this is kind of a medium where you can just try it, see how things go.
Well, an expired film is fun too because you never know what
Yeah.
you're going to get. Like it kind of it varies sometimes, and that's what's great about expired film. And it's a fun camera, or it's a fun film to use in something like the simple use, because if it's a bit janky and you don't want to run it in your better cameras, you can just use that film in this guy for random shots.
No, I'm actually really pumped. I didn't know that camera could be replaced. I was actually, one of them that I'm really excited to use is the last one you showed me how to load. And I'm pretty sure the film that you put in it is still in the camera.
Really?
So,
Dude, that was... Holy shit. That was like years ago now.
Yeah, so there might be a picture of you in there if it comes out or not. I don't know.
That's hilarious. Well,
Yeah,
you
so
should
we'll
bring
see.
it to Vancouver and finish that roll off.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You'll have to start again for me because I don't know how. Honestly, I have no idea how that
We can
camera
do
works.
that. Well, when you get here, we'll finish the roll off, and then I'll reload it for you. And then in 3 or 4 years, when we hang out again, we can get it developed.
I like our level of consistency.
Yeah.
I see you about the same amount of time I reload a camera.
It's consistently inconsistent. It's great.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe just my life in general.
And AJ has a question here. What kind of photography do you do? People, scenes, wildlife?
Probably people most of the time because it's mostly my friends, or I guess scenes would also make sense because it's just things that are happening. It's not necessarily photography that I would consider photography, but I do really would love to speak to the power that a camera has just to make you feel like you're doing something. It's just a little bit of purpose, I think, and it was really motivating to me. So I guess people, because it's mostly my friends. That's because that's the only people I feel comfortable shooting, to be honest.
It's funny, the term shooting is funny to me sometimes because it's just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go shoot someone later today.
I don't mean it like that.
I know you don't mean it like that.
The most loving, capturing forever way.
I mean, after
want
we were
them to
talking
be
about
mine forever.
serial killers in your neighborhood in Halifax and stuff, and
No, my neighborhood's safe. There's no serial killers that I know of. But you never know until you know, I guess.
JP, a good friend, an internet friend, I hope to meet him in person one day, was saying that he would love for both of us to go to San Francisco next month for PolaCon. I unfortunately know that I won't be able to make it down there, but hopefully the Texas one in September.
That sounds great. I have no idea what either of those things are, but that sounds great.
PolaCon is...
Well,
you
I'll
should
try
definitely...
my best.
Well, you should definitely check one of them out at some point because I think you'd have a lot of fun with it. PolaCon is an event that started in Denton, Texas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area by a few folks, Andy, Daniel, and Armand, who owns the Denton Camera Exchange. And it's such a cool event. It's just a weekend of Polaroid nerds and photography people getting together and just hanging out and taking photos. There's some workshops and stuff. Definitely drinks and lots of food shared. And it's just a really good time. And it's all free. You just have to get there. And historically, it's always been in Texas. But not last year, because fucking, yeah. In 2020, yes? Yeah. There was the PolaCon Bay Area, which was in San Francisco, and that was spearheaded by Brian Brooks, who is another great photographer and Polaroid fanatic who lives in San Francisco, and he convinced the Texas boys to let him start something in San Francisco. And it was a really cool event. It was the last place I went before the world ended. So
I think I know. I think I know what you're talking about because you documented it, right? You must have posted about it.
I did, yeah. I took a bunch of photos of like the last weekend. It was super weird because like a bunch of friends and I were talking about like, should we go or not? And I actually shared like a hostel room with two of my good friends from Chicago, Brian and Mary, and we were all talking, being like, was this irresponsible of us to take this trip? But then we were like, irresponsible or not, like given the way things are going, this could have been the last trip we were ever going to take for quite some time. So individually, we all decided to like take the risk, and it was. Yeah, JP says that was the weekend everything shut down, and it was so surreal being in San Francisco and watching the city just like close down. Like it's usually such like a vibrant, energetic kind of crazy city, and it was just like so slow. It was really uncanny.
What month was that? That was in March.
That was in March, and it was like super weird too because when I left Toronto, there was no restrictions. There was like nothing. It was just business as usual. And then when I landed in Toronto, they were like, you have to go home and isolate for 14 days because there's like a global pandemic. And I'm like, what? I've only been gone for like 4 days. What the hell happened?
Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah, everybody was so unsure. I came back from Slovakia right when everything was locking down. People were sick from the plane, and we didn't know why people were sick. And then we all tested, and actually, the whole cast and crew came back negative. I think it was just the plane flu or whatever. But that was my introduction to COVID, and we were supposed to come back and start filming. And I was like, "What's going on?" The whole world just shut down, and the industry in general, which is my whole world, shut down. Yeah, it was pretty intense. I was not expecting that. It was very crazy because it was such a career high for me. I've been building up my career my whole life, and I really felt like that was peak for me. I was so excited to be back, and just to have this like general global shutdown happen was pretty eye-opening in a way.
Yeah, it was so weird. It's just been a very, very weird time. Someone asked here, but I lost it in the thread. John asks if you follow Taki Ko. I don't know if you...
I don't know.
I follow Take. He's a funny dude. He goes by Big Head Taco on Instagram, and he does like YouTube stuff on Fuji primarily. So you probably really dig Take's stuff because you're a Fuji girl. So
True.
He's probably worth following. He's a funny guy.
Send him to me. I'd look right now, but I don't want to mess this up, so I'm not.
That's no problem.
I'm not touching my phone.
I will definitely send you Take's info because he's got some cool stuff that he posts, and he does a lot of really cool videos on Fuji and Leica, and he writes for Fuji Love pretty frequently, and yeah.
I wanted to be on that at for so long, but I just look at it now.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And
I had a street photography coach. His name was Ian McDonald, but he was the one that recommended the Fuji I ended up buying. He let me borrow his for a while, and then during the workshop, and I think he's sponsored by them or something. But
okay.
He's who got me into this whole thing because I had no idea how any of that worked. Pre Ian was all disposable. Now I at least have a camera to use.
The Fujis, I begrudgingly have to admit, are really good. I hate admitting that because I really dislike Fuji as a company. But between Take and Clint, they convinced me to to go Fuji, and I feel dirty about it, but I also really like the cameras a lot.
Clint's got a great camera. He showed it to me during we went to dinner at St. Lawrence, and he pulled it out. And between Clint and you, those are my two most favorite portraits ever. And I don't know. I think it's just people that know you. I think is kind of the secret.
I've got the same one as Clint now, because he's got the X Pro 2, and it's a fantastic camera.
You bought that?
I did. I got an X Pro 2. I've got two Fujis now. I've got the X Pro 2, and then I've also got an XT2, which is like the just mirrorless mimics an SLR kind of thing.
I have that one too, but I have used it once. I should probably sell it because I only use my 100.
You don't use the XT2 at all?
Nope. I bought it so I could take headshots of my friends because, a lot of friends need new portraits, and I thought I'd get into portrait photography, and I bought the whole setup, bought a backdrop, bought lights, didn't use any of it. Haven't touched the camera, used it once.
You should use it more. It's really nice to be able to change the lenses with it. Like, because the X100, that's a fixed lens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get rid of the XT2. It's worth hanging on to.
I thought I'd grow into it, but it's taken a while. These growing pains are pretty sore.
That's fair.
But we'll get there. It's not going anywhere. I'm not in a rush to sell it, and it's losing value the longer I wait, anyways. And I like it, so ideally, I just learn how to use it.
It's not that much different than your X100, really. It does have a few more knobs and dials and whatnot, but truth be told, I am wicked lazy. I just shoot in auto all the time.
That's all I do. I don't know how to turn any of the buttons.
Yeah, I usually leave the aperture wide open, and I have auto ISO, auto shutter, and then I just change the exposure comp sometimes, like this dial here, if I want it to be darker or brighter. And
that one I got. That one I figured it.
Yeah, and it's been a great camera. I did my first ever paid shoot just recently, and it was a little nerve-wracking because it was like a product shoot inside of Botanist at the Fairmont Pacific Rim, and I sold all of my Nikon digital stuff because I just never really liked it, and then I panicked because I'm like, what, this isn't I can't charge someone money for using this little toy Fuji. And so I borrowed a Nikon from a friend, and I ended up hating all of the photos I took with the Nikon, and I'm glad I brought the Fuji with me because all the Fuji photos turned out great, and I was just really displeased with the Nikon ones. Yeah, it was interesting.
Why? What was the main reason?
I didn't like the way the colors came out of it. Even after editing, they just didn't feel right, and it was also just really cumbersome and clumsy to use compared to the Fuji. I went back because we ran out of time the first day, so I went back a week later and shot the rest of it. And that time I ended up just only using the Fuji, and I rented a couple lenses from Bow Photo, and was just exponentially happier with that. I had to fuck around more with the Nikon to get stuff set up versus with the Fuji, it was just taking pictures and it was done.
Did you use any of the film presets or no? Are you against that, or do you have you experimented with that?
I do like the film presets a lot. So for that one, I didn't. Well, I did. I didn't use the film presets in the camera, but I did use them when I was editing. I applied some of the film presets to the photos when I was editing them in Lightroom. And yeah, it's great. I do like the film presets a lot. That's one of the things that was really cool about the camera. And the X Pro 2 is just so cool because of the rangefinder on it and everything. It's a really cool camera to use. It has a neat feel to it. Yeah. And then like Clint also got me on the Leica train because he loaned me his M3, and
I want one so bad, but that just may be ego talking.
oh, they are like I love them so much, but I'm also like, God damn it, why did you like put it in my hands? Because like now I need to spend a bunch of money to get my own one day.
Now I need to play the fiddle and sell my soul, and then I can get a camera.
Yeah, because he's like, I'm not in a rush to get it back, but I'm like, I feel bad because I should probably buy my own camera at some point. But yeah, he's an interesting facilitator. I love and appreciate him very much.
Me too.
Someone here has a question for you. What is the photo you are most proud of?
I don't know if I ever posted it. I probably did because I'm proud of it, I guess. But it's the first photo I like that was like praised in my photography course that I took when like the week I bought the Fuji X100F. It was a photo at waterfront. There's some guy leaning against the rail. And honestly, I would have totally disregarded the photo as just a normal picture. But we used it in class, and my instructor, Ian, praised me for it. And I then sat on my throne and was so proud of this picture all of a sudden. And it has since become like the one picture I show all my photography friends. Like, look at the picture I took. So that's the one.
It's good to be proud of it, though.
You know what? I'm happy. It was the first picture I took that someone was like, "Hey, nice picture." So, I that's why I like it. Could have been anything.
Tech Geek is curious. Did you take any photos while working on Defiance?
Not many. I wasn't into photography then. I was actually really shy from cameras in general. That was during high school and right out of high school. So I was pretty shy and just trying my best to stay out of the way. So I didn't take many pictures at all, which I totally regret because there was a lot of behind the scenes that happened on that set. A lot of the other actors were taking lots of footage. And I just always was like in awe by at the time, I thought they were so brave to take behind the scenes pictures and to ask other actors for their assistance in being in pictures. And looking back, it's like, you were as much a part of that as anybody else. But at the time, I didn't feel like that. So I was not taking any pictures.
That's fair.
Yeah. You're just younger. I was really shy.
Yeah, I wish I took more pictures when I was younger too. Like I feel kind of sad a little bit about that because there's like so many things I wish I had photos of.
Yeah.
But I was kind of a dick in high school a little bit because it's just like one of my best friends who I've known since like grade 2. She was like super into photography when we were in high school, and like she was like, you should join like yearbook club because of the dark room and stuff. I'm like, nerd, like I'm just gonna go get drunk every weekend. And now I wish that I listened to her and went to the fucking yearbook club to dick around and be more into photography at an earlier time.
Yeah, I totally get that. I mean, ours didn't have a dark room, but I think ours is a printer.
That's fair. John is wondering if you... Oh, what's that?
I get it. I get what you mean.
John wonders if you have any thoughts on Ricoh cameras.
I have no idea what that means.
That's fair. Ricohs are pretty cool. They make a really cool street camera called the GR, GR2, GR3, and then the original GR was actually a film camera, which is a really cool camera. It's super neat, but it's also one of those electronic point and shoots that's an expensive time bomb, because at some point it's going to stop working right, and you'll just be big sad when it breaks, because you probably spent big money on it.
Big mad.
Yeah, definitely big mad. There was another question here. Where did it go? So many things going on in the joining.
Yeah.
Shit. Oh,
Okay.
Steve Lamb asks, how do you think phones have made photography better or worse?
Hi, Steve. That's a friend. That's a friend of mine. I think phones have made it better. I don't know. I think, yeah, the more pictures, the better, honestly. Like, I'm not going to be a quality snob. None of my pictures are great. So I think the more opportunity you have to document a moment, the better.
I'm going to totally agree with that too, because I got the iPhone 12 last year, and still am absolutely blown away by how fucking good the camera is.
The 12? You got the 12?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and then some people, like a friend just got the 13, and he's like, the camera's even more bonkers on it, and I'm like, god damn it, I'm still fucking paying this one off. I'm not going to get the 13 right now.
I'm on the 10.
Dang. Well, the 10 had a good camera too. Like, I remember my iPhone 8 Plus, that was the first one I bought brand new too, because I've always bought used phones.
Yeah.
But like my iPhone 6 shit the bed, and I was like, fuck this. I've got some extra money now. I'm a big boy. I can burn up some cash. And I went to the Apple store and got completely upsold by this lovely Scottish woman with fiery red hair that completely sold me more than I was planning on buying that day. But I was like, whatever, shut up. I'm going to fucking take my money. Yeah, and the 8 Plus had a wicked awesome camera on it. But the 12 has also been kind of blowing my mind. So I think though, to your point, it makes it more accessible to people. So I think it's great.
You know what? Like, my mom and my dad are sending me pictures of their everyday life now, which is not something they ever would have done because they have iPhones or just phones with cameras. And I think it's so cool that I get to see what they're doing now, because with the normal, a Razr flip phone, they would never have been able to figure that out. And now all of a sudden, now they're there, and it's not photography, but to them it is. These are important shots. They've taken 90 of them. They're sending me the one select that they've decided is the best. And now I get to see what I think my parents find important in their day. And to me, that's pretty cool.
That's super cool. The accessibility is something that is just so wild to think about now.
Yeah, I'm so pumped on it. And I use wind-up cameras, so who am I to tell you what photography is important or not? If you can use it, great. I just think you should take pictures.
Yeah, absolutely. I think anything that you use to be creative is good. There's nothing that's better or worse. Because there's people that have crazy expensive gear that take garbage photos, and people that buy a disposable camera and take brilliantly awesome photos. It really all depends. Johnny the Bandit is wondering, what is a photo you've always wanted to take but have not taken yet?
A really cool behind the scenes photo on set. None of them, most of them are candid. I would love to take a very cool one where I actually pose my castmates in a vision that I have, and then snap their shot. Because another reason I got my digital camera was to take on set. And the year I bought my Fuji was the year I didn't book a single job. So that was a bit of self-reflection. But I've always wanted to take lots of really cool behind-the-scenes shots of my castmates. But even that takes guts, and I'm not quite there yet. Maybe on my next job.
You have lots of time to start experimenting with that. But like on that point of the behind the scenes stuff, have you ever seen any of the stuff that Jeff Bridges has done?
No.
He does the coolest behind the scenes shots. So Jeff Bridges uses this like it's such a weird contraption. It's called the Wide Lux, and it's like a panoramic camera. And he takes it with him on all the movies he does, and he does these like crazy like behind the scenes photos with like him in crew with this Wide Lux, and it's got like a rotating lens on it to do like the large panoramics. So if you're quick enough, you can actually like end up being in the photo twice, because you can like set the camera, it'll capture you on this side, and as it's panning, you can like quickly run to the other end of it and be on like, you know, the other side of the photo. And I think he did a book a while back of like, you know, a bunch of his behind the scenes. So that's definitely worth checking out. I think you'd really dig it.
Yeah, that sounds right up my alley. I'll definitely watch that or take a look at that.
And there was some stuff, I think there was a couple interviews on YouTube too where he talked about it, and it was just really cool to hear him talk about the camera and just see like how excited and geeked he gets about it, because he really just dug that it was just like such an unconventional camera that like not many people see. So he always liked to just like take it with him on sets that he's working on.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm definitely looking that up. I wrote it down. You can't read my notes, but it's there.
Those are good notes.
Thank you. I can understand that. It's like I'm a doctor, but just the handwriting.
My handwriting is also terrible. Yeah, it looks like a child with some kind of deficit is you know, trying to communicate in a language that no one's ever heard of.
Well, as long as you're trying, that's all that matters.
That's very sweet of you to say. Is there like any projects that you've been wanting to do at all, like with your photography? Like, have you thought about like making an official coffee table book or something?
Nope. I am just happy documenting my own personal life. I have my own personal coffee table book. It's for me and my friends and whoever comes to my house. I would love to take more pictures of behind the scenes on set. And then, you know, maybe one day I can have a cool album of my time on set through the years. Kind of wish I started earlier, like 20 years earlier, but I guess you can't really teach a 4-year-old how to hold a camera.
Well, I mean, you never know.
You could.
You could. I gave my niece a camera for her 4th birthday. I bought her... I bought a DSLR off of one of my coworkers because he upgraded and he was selling this like Canon super cheap. And so I bought it because I thought it'd be really cool to give her as a gift, but she was turning 4, and I talked to my brother and his wife about it, and I was like, do you think like this is going to be like too crazy of a thing to give to a 4-year-old? And they were like, well, let's try it and see what happens. And she just like took off with it. It was so wild. And it's also been kind of cool too, because I gave them my old iMac a couple of years ago and set it up with like iMessage and FaceTime and stuff, because most of the aunts and uncles and grandma and grandpas and stuff all use like iPhones and stuff so that they can like chat with them. And it's just kind of cool because like now she'll like text me like photos that she's been like doing and stuff. But she also figured out how to like take selfies of herself with like a DSLR.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
She takes these like deadly selfies of herself. Like she's just such a cool kid. And so it's like, yeah, I think like little kids definitely could rock a camera.
Yeah, well nowadays, yeah. The 2000s kids definitely.
Yeah, it's wild how quickly they pick stuff up. Like when I gave them the iMac, she ended up teaching her parents how to use the iMac after they figured out what a mouse was. Because when they first got the computer booted up, her and her brother were like hitting the screen trying to make it work, and they're like, "This thing's broken," because they're
Like,
used
it's
to
not
touch
touch screen. What is this garbage?
Yeah,
I
and
feel that.
their mom's like, "You have to use the mouse," and they're like, "Mouse? What?"
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Yeah, and then they figured out the mouse, and my brother's like, "Dude, it's messed up. Like, the kids are showing us how to use the computer. Like, he's like, I feel so old now."
Okay. Pretend that's normal.
It could be. Yeah.
But that's not right, yeah. I mean, you should give them a Polaroid and see what happens.
I did. I gave them Fuji Instax, and it worked really great until my nephew, like,
Until they ran
manhandled
out.
it a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah. He thought that the lens needed, like, a little bit extra help, like getting in or out or something, and it's never been right since then, so.
Yeah, definitely. It didn't need help.
No, it didn't need help, but I did.
No.
Last year, I gave them all like little Canon point and shoots that can record video, because my little brother has been teaching them how to skateboard, and I thought it'd be really cool if they could like take videos of their skateboarding, because the camera that I gave her when she was 4 is just a photo camera. It doesn't take video at all, and that was hilarious to watch, because when I told them it took video, my nephew Noah absolutely lost it. He's like, "What? It takes video?" And then he's like, "Mom, I could finally make video for my fans." It's like, what is he talking about? And like, my sister-in-law Dawn, she's like, "Oh, he wants to be a YouTube creator when he grows up."
He's got 3 million on TikTok. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he could. And then it was hilarious. He's like, Mom, you gotta take a video of me for my fans. And so she's like, okay. And so she's like recording him, and he's like upside down hanging on the monkey bars. And he's like, "What's up, guys? It's Noah. I'm gonna show you how to do a backflip off the monkey bars when you're upside down." I was like, this is kind of weird to watch right now. Like, he's so little, but he's talking like he's like Stradman or something.
You know what? That's like prime content for like 10 years from now. I'm so happy that the generation they're doing that. What can Too Much Footage do? Honestly, I think it's only a good thing.
It's great because they'll like have these things to be embarrassed about when they're older.
It's ammo for us. They feel great. It's great. I'll definitely film them.
Well, it's really cool too to like watch the confidence that a lot of these kids have, and the creativity they have too, just because they have like access to these resources that like we could only have dreamt of when we were kids. It's kind of wild to think about.
No, it's cool. I thought about it because, I mean, at least they're not so little anymore, but I have younger cousins, and they grew up with cameras, and they grew up doing the same thing, just talking to it. But there was like almost no fear behind it because, you know, they have the power to delete, they have the power to continue filming if they want, or it's just so second nature to them, like a friend. But I grew up totally different to that. I grew up in front of the camera, but it was a job to me. So there was like a fear of doing it wrong, and I think that definitely probably spoke to my relationship with cameras.
Interesting.
It's kind of cool to watch the younger generation grow up with them now and just be so open with them.
That's an interesting point you make. So your work is like a child actor. Like, it's like affecting like how you feel about cameras today in a way.
I think so. I think it's definitely got to be in there. I mean, it's, imagine being told like this is like that's your job. And back then it was film, so it's like
you really didn't want to fuck it up.
Yeah, like you would do it right, and if you don't, there's somebody right behind you that will. And it's just a lot of anxiety, and I mean, I always enjoyed it, but I'm only just now kind of scraping the surface of. I wonder what kind of relationship that made me have with cameras nowadays because I'm very uncomfortable in front of a camera. I hate getting my picture taken. But I love being on film because that's my job, and that I know I can do. But photography in general is not something I'm comfortable with. And holding the camera is only something I've started doing as I grew up. And I think maybe I like it so much because it's like, it's in my hands this time.
That's interesting.
Something along those lines. I don't know. There's something there. If there's a therapist in this chat, maybe they can help me out.
I was just going to say, this could be a very interesting topic to unpack with a therapist.
Yeah, I'll bring this up next Wednesday. I'll let you know on Thursday what happens.
And, you know, therapy is a very important thing. Like, you know, we all go through stuff.
No, I'm a big fan of therapy. Highly recommend it to everybody at this point in time, especially with the world as it is right now. Definitely recommend therapy.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
it's a really important tool that is helpful for so many different things. You know, possibly helping you get over your fear of the camera.
Yeah, we're not there yet. We're a few years back, but we'll get there, and I'll let you know. But I do recommend it.
Yeah, I recommend it too. I've been doing therapy for a long time. John asks, can you remember what exactly compelled you to pick up the camera?
Oh, that was I kind of touched on it way earlier, but that was that was a time where I was unwilling to leave my house, and actually through therapy, an activity I came up with as a way for me to get out of my house, because the camera roll has a definitive amount of film on it.
That's
and
right.
I gave myself a timeline to shoot the amount of photos on my roll, and it got me out of the house, and it got me meeting people. And I followed those like prompts on, I think it was like Tumblr at the time, where it was like, you know, like take a picture of something blue today, and you went out and you did that. And as dumb as it sounds, it's what got me out of my rut and got me out of the house in general. And I never stopped, and I really enjoyed it. And I still go for walks now. I don't do it with my camera sometimes, but walking around is a huge part of my life. And my friends that know me know that I just roam around, and that's I'm a bit nomadic in that sense, but that's kind of what I do.
I get the nomadic thing. Yeah. I seem to have a cycle. It's like every 4 or 5 years, I kind of pick up and go somewhere different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
feel that.
I've got like 2 years left in Vancouver.
Well, maybe I'll come to Halifax. That's where I ended up. Never thought I'd be here.
You never know. Like, I never thought I'd end up in Toronto. That was a weird adventure. Yeah. I miss it a lot more than I expected to, though. That was something that surprised me.
I love Toronto. I left Toronto, and I was like, all my friends in Vancouver just kind of, at least the narrative I had in my head was like, everybody must be so annoyed with the amount of times I bring up how much I miss Toronto, because I loved it there, and I still talk about that. I loved living in Toronto, but I haven't moved back yet. So I mean, there's got to be something about that.
Yeah, I surprisingly loved living in Toronto too, and you know, had the pandemic not happened, I think I'd probably still be there. Yeah, I might end up back there at some point. Who knows?
Well, selfishly, I'm happy you ended up in Vancouver, and you got such a cool spot. Honestly, you have the coolest spot. Who knew that was ever going to open up to creatives in general? I'm so happy
cool.
They didn't knock it down for condos.
Well, they're
What
going
a
to.
sweet spot you got.
That's what's going to happen eventually. So that's why it opened up. Is it got bought by a condo developer, and they they signed a 2.5-year lease with the Narrow Group, which Dave at the Narrow Group does an interesting thing. He finds these buildings that developers are going to tear down at some point, and then signs these leases with them to turn them into art spaces until they get torn down. So with any luck, they'll have issues with permits or something, and it'll get extended in this space because developers like money. So instead of just having like this lot with a fence that would get abandoned and filled with vagrants and God knows what, they have this property that's filled with a bunch of weird artists that are giving them money. So yeah.
Great.
And then
it always takes longer than I expect.
It will. Like, Clint keeps mentioning like the first building he was in that, like, they were told that it was going to get torn down, and it took like 5 or 6 years before it ended up actually getting torn down. So
I moved out of an apartment thinking that was going to get torn down, and it's still there. Like, thanks.
That's wild.
It was such a nice spot too. It was so sad.
Well, maybe you can move back into it at some point.
Who knows? That was on Main and 14th.
That's a nice area.
Yeah, I loved it there. Great spot.
Yeah, I'm really digging like this area. So it's like I'm practically neighbors with Clint. Like, he's just on the other side of Maine from me.
I want to be neighbors with Clint.
Well, you gotta be in Vancouver again.
Yeah, details.
But it's a cool hood. Like, I like this little spot because it's like not a very far walk away as like Chickpea and East on East and a bunch of different food joints. Mocha told me that there was a Brecca right by my house, which I wish he never told me that, because that was like the worst knowledge to ever learn about, that there's like a 24/7 donut shop like within a 5-minute walk of my house.
They're on Uber Eats as well, so you could just get them delivered too.
It's nice to go for a walk sometimes.
If you ever feel like not leaving the house.
I oftentimes do. Like, my usage of Uber Eats shamefully is like gone up a lot in the pandemic. I appreciate the fact that I can hail a stranger to come to my house to bring me something that I can't bother myself to go out and get. Like, it's amazing and shameful all at the same time.
Yeah. There's a lot of apologizing for me in the step process. I always, in the notes, they're always like, write a note for your order. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm only ordering one meal. Please include cutlery, thank you.
Well, then it's also weird for them too, because like I'm in like a basement studio in the back of the house, so it's like the instructions are always go through gate and like come to the back and like bring me my food, because I don't want to make the trek to the front of the house to get it off the porch. And now I have to put in the notes that there is no dog here, because my landlady's past husband, he put up this bronze sign with a German Shepherd that in Ukrainian says mad dog inside or something like that. And so there's been like a couple people who could read Ukrainian that were like, I'm not fucking going back there. I'm like, dude, there's no dog.
Yeah, that's kind of a really good security hack.
Yeah, it only works with people that can understand Ukrainian. But
It's niche, but it works.
It's definitely niche. But yeah, I do like the Uber Eats, and I like walking around and taking photos in the hood at night sometimes. It's an interesting place to take photos.
Around Main Street?
Yeah, around Main Street. Sometimes like I roll something up and go for a little walk, and Take, Big Head Taco, he takes all sorts of really cool nighttime photos, like in Chinatown and like Mount Pleasant and over towards Burnaby where he lives, and he gets some really cool night photos.
Am I spelling like it's Big Head Taco?
Yeah, Big Head, all one word, Big Head Taco.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure I got that right.
Yeah, he's a funny guy. I'm still pretty basic though. Like, I've been shooting that place since the 2000, like early 2000s. I still like taking pictures in Gastown. Like,
If you keep going, eventually you have like a pretty cool like time capsule.
it's been neat to see how it's changed. I'm kind of glad in a way that the pandemic happened because it like sort of slowed down the douchification of Gastown and like, you know, it was like headed towards like Yaletown direction for the longest time, and like I feel that the pandemic has derailed that. But like, Yaletown,
It would never get there. It's too close to Hastings.
they definitely tried. Like, the Donnelly group and all of their infinite whatever has definitely tried their best to gentrify Gastown.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, they tried to follow me a couple of years ago. I just blocked them.
The Donnelly group? Oh shit.
Yeah, their account followed me, and I was just like, I fucking don't like you guys. Like, you ruined so many places that I loved. So I was like, no. Like, it was just, when I saw it, I was just like, I yelled no in my apartment and just like blocked them immediately. But like, that was, so, like, the Lamplighter, I think, is one of the places that I was most disappointed that they ruined. Because I shot so many cool shows in the Lamplighter.
I was never pre-Lamplighter. I don't know what pre-Lamplighter is.
You don't know? Oh, it's a pre-Lamplighter. Like, in the early 2000s, the Lamplighter was like this super divey bar where there'd always be like punk shows and hip-hop shows and stuff, and it was so much fun. And the Piccadilly pub was another one that was like fucking amazing too. So many cool like hip-hop battles and stuff at the Piccadilly pub, and now it's like a shitty ramen shop.
Oh, great. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's progress. They tore down the Sunshine Diner, or the Smile Diner, or whatever. That
was a huge bucket. I really always wanted to film. I mean, actually, I did film in there, but I always wanted to film more things in there.
It was such a cool place, but I guess it like just was too old and gnarly or something. Or maybe they made too much money selling it. I don't know. But now there's just a big gaping hole where there used to be the Sunshine Diner. And it kind of bums me out every time I walk past it.
How's the Canby doing? That's all I remember.
Well, the Canby still exists. I am far too old to go inside of the Canby. My friend Ryan...
Everybody's welcome at the Canby.
Well, yeah, but also just like personally, I just feel too old to go into the Canby, because like when I used to frequent the Canby, I was like a very different person, and I'm not that person at all anymore. So it's just like, I feel like it's just not really for me anymore. If I was in my 20s still, I would love the shit out of the Canby. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I won't fight you on it.
You're gonna. Well, you could try. Man, give me a wild Canby story. Do you have one?
I don't remember any of them. That's the point of the Canby.
That's fair. I remember a couple of them, but this one didn't happen to me. It happened to my roommate. She came back to the table just like white as a sheet, and we were like, Michelle, what the fuck happened, dude? And she was like, in the bathroom, this woman came up to me screaming something about her daughter not being around while she was like getting a needle ready to like shoot up. And then she turned around and was like, going off about how she missed her daughter. And then when she turned around again, the needle was like in her eyeball. And she was like coming at my roommate, demanding a hug from her. And like, she just went screaming out of the bathroom and told us about this. And I was just like, what the actual fuck? So right now you're telling me there's like a lady in the ladies' washroom with a needle hanging out of her eye? Like, why would you put a needle in your eyeball anyways? Like, that makes no sense.
I don't think they were thinking logically at the time. These are one of those stories that are really funny later. but at the time, that's pretty fucking traumatic.
Yeah. Someone says here, the Canby is a starter bar. It's like a tutorial. Yeah, it is. That's what you kind of get started there. I had my first ever bar fight in the Canby, which was kind of interesting.
You said you had your first bar fight?
Yeah, in the Canby. That was...
Was it a dance off and you thought you were having a bar fight?
No, it was not a dance off. So there was this dude that was like harassing my roommate. Like, he was into her. She wasn't into him because like she was into women and not dudes. He was being very persistent, being like a dick. And I went to go get a beer, and I was like maybe like 3 or 4 feet away, like walking towards the bar, and I heard her scream because he had slapped her. And I don't know, it just like flipped a switch in me or something, and I just like went back to this dude and just like grabbed him by the shoulder and just started like fucking wailing him in the gut. And then he ended up falling on the ground, and then I just like shit kicked him, yelling at him, saying like, you never fucking hit women. Like, what kind of fucking person raised you to think it's okay to hit women? And he didn't get a punch or anything in. Like, it was kind of wild. This is the first time I ever beat someone up in a bar. I haven't done it since then.
Well, I think you had reason.
Yeah, you should never hit a woman. Yeah. Not unless they hit you first and they're like trying to get into a fight. Then if it's like, you're going to get into a fight. But like, you shouldn't just go abusing people. That's just weak sauce.
In general, just generally, that's pretty, pretty good rule.
Yeah, it's a really great rule. The fucking funniest thing though, we were leaving the Canby one night. It was like they were kicking everyone out. Like, we had stayed there right until closing, and like they had the ugly lights on and everything, and they were like flooding people out. And me and my friends were standing outside trying to figure out what we were gonna do next. We were debating if we should just go home or if we should go to Uncle Fatty's first. And while we're like, while we're debating this, we hear cop cars, and we see this like dude ripping up Cordova against traffic on a BMX, and then all these cop cars start like coming behind him. And this dude like dumps this really sweet BMX right in front of us and goes running into the Canby, and he's like taking his clothes off as he's running into the Canby because he thinks he's going to blend into the crowd. But when he gets inside, there's no crowd because they've been like getting everyone out. And so we're looking, like, we could see through the windows that like this dude is now inside looking around at an empty Canby, panicking, trying to figure out what he's supposed to do because his plan to blend into a crowd didn't work because there's no crowd. And then we watched him get tackled by a bunch of cops inside. And me and my friend Kyle, the whole time this is happening, we're like, that's a pretty sweet bike. And we're like, we should take this bike. So we picked the bike up and we put it up against the fence and just like left it leaned up against the fence. And we're like, I mean, if the cops don't do anything with the bike, it's kind of a free bike, right? And so like Kyle and I stuck around until the cops left.
No. So the end of the story is that you left the bike there.
No, we
walked away.
No, we took the bike. I was riding the bike and Kyle was on the pegs and we were like doubling on the bike, and our friend Lisa was giving us shit the whole time. She was like, you can't take the bike, this is so stupid. We got it on the SkyTrain and like she was yelling at us the whole time we were on the SkyTrain, and then we were finally like, fuck, okay, the bike's not worth it, and we gave it to a Sky Pig. We asked the dude if he had a kid that would like a bike. And he's like, yeah. And it's like, well, here you go. Here's a bike. You know, the cops might want it because it might be like evidence for some like crime or something. And he's like, what? And we're like, oh, have a great night. Bye. And like, so we did give it to the police in some way. Like, you know.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah. So like I said, 20-year-old me was a very different person than 40-year-old me.
Yeah, that is a different time, too. It's a different time.
Yeah, the early 2000s, it was so much more hopeful because, like, we'd survived the end of the world because, like, you know, 2000, that was supposed to be the end of the world. And then we got past it and everything was good.
I was learning how to type.
You were learning how to type in 2000?
Yeah, 2001, grade 1.
You were in grade 1 in 2000?
Yeah, my high school years go with the actual years. So 2001, I was in grade 1. I was learning. I actually probably wasn't even learning typing yet. I was learning cursive, actually. Maybe. Actually, I think I got cursive in grade 3. I have no recollection of grade 1 except for nap time, to be honest.
God damn. I feel really old right now.
It's okay. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, Waster of Silver is like, oh, Jesus.
Oh, my bad.
I feel he's like, you know, similar vintage to me too. It's okay. I have lots of younger friends, so it's you know, I end up feeling old a lot of the time anyway, so. But no one seems to guess my actual age. They think I'm a lot younger than I am, which is very sweet of them.
Yeah, I thought you were younger too, actually.
Oh, that's very kind of you. I mean, the beard kind of gives it off now because I've got like, you know, a lot of white in it now.
Honestly, I have my glasses on or my contacts, so the whole thing's a bit blurry. So you look fine.
Well, that's a funny one. So that could be something that you share with James Spader, because apparently he's like pretty freaking blind, and unless he's wearing his glasses or something, he can't see what is in front of him. So when he's like doing a scene where he's not wearing glasses, he's like completely flying blind and just sort of like, you know, winging it from a visual perspective.
I totally get that. I was super superstitious about it because I felt like putting contacts in, you're putting a layer in front of your eye, so that kind of blocks the connection you have with your scene partner.
Really?
In my head. So I refused to wear contacts on set, and then like 2 weeks ago, I've kind of come out with wits and I can't see anything, so I should probably get some contacts. So superstition goes out the window at this point. I need to be able to see what I'm doing, just generally. So we're going to work on that.
I don't know if I could do contacts. The idea of like putting stuff in my eyeballs just really creeps me out.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not fun, but it's great when you see things. Also,
seeing things is really great. I do like.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I also don't like how I look without glasses. I feel it's like kind of like creepy and not good. So I like how I look with glasses a lot more than without.
Well, you know, that's a thing. I like glasses too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the glasses are very similar to the beard. So it's like I like the beard because it helps hide my chins. Because I was blessed with like these genetics that give me like a lot of like chin action. So the beard is great at hiding it. And the glasses are pretty good at hiding the bags that I have under my eyes from like not sleeping well. So, you know, it's...
I think bags are like in now.
They're so hot right now.
Just for, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they're cool. So just if you feel like you want to try, now's the time.
I heard an interview. Conan O'Brien said he uses Preparation H on his.
Let's not listen to Conan O'Brien about beauty rituals. All right, probably the last person on anybody's list to listen to about beauty rituals.
Well, you don't like that sort of like awkward, like, you know, ginger vampire look?
It's a thing. Yeesh.
That's fair. So, are there any cameras you want to explore that you haven't explored yet?
Sick segue. You know what? I'd love to explore the ones I own. I have them. It'd be nice to use them. Let me show you one. Give me a moment. Let me see if I can find it. If I can find it within 10 seconds. This is the one you loaded for me that I haven't even finished shooting it. This is my next one on my list.
The Holga, or the Lomo. Yeah, those are really cool.
Yeah, I got this from Clint.
And you haven't finished that roll yet.
Nope.
Holy shit, man.
I know. Yeah, I'm like really worried about it.
Oh, don't be worried about it. It'll just look probably weird, but it'll be okay. You should challenge yourself with that. Go and you know, take some photos of it.
I really just like this guy. Look at him. Look at his little face.
He's a cool guy. He kind of reminds me of like the Fido Dido character that 7-Up used to have on thing, or Sprite. I can't remember which one it was.
This is a pre-2000s reference.
It is. Sorry, you wouldn't get it. But
Sorry, you're Conan O'Brien and yourself.
You should finish that roll though, so that when you come to Vancouver, you can drop it off at Rocket Repro and get them to develop and scan it for you. Also,
you go to Rocket Repro for your stuff?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
that's who I've got. They've done my headshots since I've owned headshots.
I was just gonna say, is your headshot up on the headshot wall there?
You know what? It's not. So I have beef with them, but I've been their client since like the 90s.
Well, fuck. We need to go talk to them about this. We got to go talk. The Rocket Repro dudes, if you're listening right now, you know, you've got that old ass headshot of fucking Ryan Reynolds up there. You've got babyface Seth Rogen up there. So you definitely should have Nicole up on that wall. Yeah.
I can guarantee I've developed more there than Ryan Reynolds or Seth Rogen.
Yeah, probably by like one. Because I don't
Definitely.
think they probably never like brought anything into there. I feel though, if Seth Rogen was into photography, he'd probably have some interesting photos.
I bet you he has a pretty sick coffee table photo.
Yeah, he probably does. Ryan Reynolds is probably just all abs and teeth.
Yeah, just really intense close-ups with abs and teeth.
Yeah, and probably scrotums. After Deadpool, I could see that. It makes sense, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of has that sort of humor that seems like it'd be like scrotal in nature. I mean,
you know what?
Have you seen Waiting?
No, I haven't.
It's a really interesting early Ryan Reynolds movie, and it borderline the Apple guy is in it too. The I'm a Mac, I'm a PC guy. Well, I can't remember his name.
No idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, fuck. Okay, I keep forgetting that you're so young. But anyways, when you come to Vancouver, we'll go to Rocket Repo and get some film developed for you, and we'll petition them to get your picture up on the wall. I'm sure there's
Excellent.
someone up there that they can take down to replace with you.
Somebody.
Someone like
We'll
your
see.
Conan comment. Justin Long, that's who. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
I also like Justin Long a lot in Accepted, which was one of Jonah Hill's early movies. And Jonah Hill is fucking hilarious in that one. He's super young, and all I can really remember is he did this really hilarious scream when a skeleton fell from the ceiling, and he was just like, I hope none of you ever talk about this because I'm really embarrassed about it. And then there's a scene where he's dressed up like a hot dog going, ask me about my wiener. Yeah. It was pre-super bad, so it's really young Jonah Hill.
I'm going to need you to stop outing me for things I haven't seen. But Jonah Hill, fun fact, is every year when my agency asks me, what careers do you want to follow? I send a picture of Jonah Hill.
Really?
Yeah. Even though I don't do comedy necessarily. But I really like where he's at now.
Yeah, he's had an interesting trajectory, and it's I was watching a recent interview that he did where he talked about his goals, and one of his main goals was to be able to direct and do movies.
Well, did you watch his mid-90s? Did you watch mid-90s?
Yes, I felt really old and nostalgic watching that.
I thought it was really cool discovering what the 90s were like for people. Just kidding.
I forgot you were such a dick.
Oh, yeah, sorry. That comes out.
No, it's totally fine. It's one of the things I love most about you. It was the stories that you shared that you can't share on here that really endeared me to you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate it too. They were still some of my favorite stories. But mid-90s was great. And I also had no idea that he wrote 21 Jump Street, which that kind of blew my mind in that. That was his idea because he wanted to make fun of Hollywood, and everyone's like, no, you can't do it. And he was talking about how he convinced Channing Tatum to do it because Channing was apparently not interested in, doing this movie, because he was being all famous for wowing girls and stuff. And Jonah Hill was basically okay, you've won the female vote, but he's dudes don't like you, man. They think that you're all into the chick flicks. You need to do a dude movie. And that was what convinced Channing Tatum to do the ridiculous movie with him. And yeah, it's just really cool hearing his path. That's a cool path to follow.
He has a really cool interview out on GQ right now.
That was a really good one, yeah.
Yeah, but it's actually a good interview. Yeah.
Yeah,
I have a lot of free time.
I watched that GQ one and I really liked it. There was another one where he talked about Wolf of Wall Street being one of the most amazing and also weird experiences he's ever had, because he was just Martin Scorsese pushed him to do all these crazy things. And he was just surprised by the kind of person that Martin turned him into, where he was just I did all of these horrible things on film and I didn't think a single thing about it because Martin Scorsese was telling me to do it. But then he's I'm in the car on the way home thinking about all the things that I just did on film, being who the hell was that person?
No, that's kind of a reward. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's pretty... Have you asked your agency to try and get you to do work with him?
No. No, not yet.
You should.
Yeah, definitely. Aim for the stars, right?
I feel like you would be really good at comedy.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
But I try. I don't know. One day, ideally. You know what? I think I just need to go to more classes, maybe. You just need to learn. I just need to study a bit harder. This comedy's really hard.
Or just go find Seth Rogen and get stoned with him.
That I can do. I can do that.
Yeah, just you like. I feel we should hang
Never
out.
mind studying.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to study. You just need to like find Seth Rogen and hang out with him, show him good food places, make him laugh, and maybe you'll end up in a project.
2022. I'll work on it.
There you go. That's a 2022 goal.
Yeah.
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 You just
Sorry,
write that
great.
on like a vision board. Be homies with Seth Rogen. Work with Jonah Hill.
Easy enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get there. I mean, yeah, totally doable.
Absolutely doable. I'm kind of curious if any of them do photography, though.
Maybe I can show them. They
Yeah, you
probably
could.
do, though.
So, are there any photographers that like inspire you that you're stoked by, that like you like checking out their work and like seeing it makes you want to do like similar things? Or
Yeah, not you, of course.
oh, that's very sweet of you to say.
Not that I know by name. There's quite a few that I follow that take portraits of actors in Germany. Actually, there's a lot of German Netflix shows that I like, and then I end up looking up the actors online, and then I look up the photographers that have done their PR shoots, and I love the stuff that they do, and I follow all of them. I have no
cool.
idea what their names are or how to say them, but there's the rabbit hole if anybody wants to go down it.
Yeah, there's so much great stuff on the Instagrams if you dig around.
That's all I know. I mean, yeah, there's so much. All the photographers I look at are on Instagram. I don't know any photographers off Instagram. Off the top of my head, really.
Really?
Not, I mean, maybe I do, but I don't think I do.
That's fair.
Not that I. Ooh, take it back. Gosh. I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, most of the people I find are on Instagram. Mostly Berlin, Germany, and New York. That's where they mostly are.
Yeah, there's a lot of really great photographers that that I follow that are out of New York. Some cool stuff there.
Oh, you know what is cool is most of my friend group in Halifax are photographers.
Really?
Oh, yeah, so there's that. I almost forgot about mentioning that, but like, yeah, a lot of my friends in the city have been people I met through. Well, I met them through film, but I mean, film is kind of just a way into photography. It's like an easy branch, right? So a lot of my friends are photographers, which is very fun for me.
I think there's a photographer that's out there that I was just talking to recently that is in Halifax. I could be wrong. Oh no, he's in New Brunswick. My bad. Never mind. East Coast-ish.
It's kind of in the same area, definitely in the same geographic side of Canada.
Yeah, he's been talking about maybe starting up like an Eastern-based like photography page. So if he ends up putting that together, I'll definitely let you know about it.
Let me know. I'll upload my shots once I get them developed.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to be like specific film only, because he was asking questions because I'm part of Northern Film Collective, which is
Oh yeah.
like an Instagram thing to like amplify Canadian film photographers. But the rules that Becca put down for that is that like, everything has to be film, like, no digital. I don't know if his is going to be similar there. But, you'll have some film soon developed.
soon enough, once I see you, we'll get it done.
Exactly. And if you start shooting more film, like while you're out on the east side, I don't know if there's any labs where you are, but Downtown Camera, which is in Toronto, does a really great mail order service. So you could mail your film to them. And they also have really good film prices too. So you can get them to mail you film back when they send your negatives to you.
That's a good deal. I don't know. We have some film. I go to this place called Atlantic Photo Supply, and they've been printing all my stuff out, but I've never asked them to send me film back, mostly because I wouldn't know what to do with it.
That's fine. So you don't keep your negatives?
I have them.
Okay.
I have them. I have them all. I just don't know why I have them.
Well, one day they'll come in handy.
This is what you mean?
Yeah.
yeah, I have them. I just don't. I don't know why I have them.
It's like an archive to like hang on. Like if you ever like lose the the scans that you have or the prints, like it's nice to have the negatives because you can get new scans or you can have new prints made from the negatives.
Sometimes I'll throw them out if I don't like the pictures that got developed.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm gonna take control of my history. Whoever's gonna go through this box is gonna see nothing not flattering. That's for sure.
That's a tough one though, because you might not like them today, but maybe later on it'd be like photos that you'd appreciate differently.
You're right. I just would rather regret having thrown them out than regret having them exist.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, like I've also got so many negatives. Like there's just so many photos. I don't know what to do with all of them.
You must have a lot. Like I only have a little tiny Tupperware. That's all my negatives. That's like since I started.
Yeah, I've got like
that's all I've kept.
One of those like extra large like Home Depot cardboard boxes filled with them, plus another couple other boxes. There's just so many. I need to organize them at some point, but for now they just go into boxes.
But not today. Today's not the day.
No, I'm too lazy for that kind of stuff. It's hard to manage those kinds of things. Yeah.
Well, it takes a lot of it takes a lot to want to go through that kind of stuff.
It does, and scanning is a lot of work too. Like Michael says here, keep up on scanning. His dad's been working on for years on scanning all of his negatives, and yeah, like I've got a huge bag of negatives from when I was a kid that my parents gave me that I keep telling myself or lying to myself that I'm going to scan them at some point. I did scan a couple and I got some like really cool photos of like my grandpa being a pimp. He was like, he had some wild fashion. Dude wore like Adidas style tracksuits in like the 80s with like fedoras. He was like this Filipino pimp.
Where was this?
This was in Calgary.
That's awesome. All right.
Yeah, he's kind of a badass guy. I wish I got to know him a bit better, but he died when I was really little.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's part of life.
You have photos, you said?
I do. I'll show them to you sometime. When you come here, I'll show them to you. They're hilarious.
Those I'd like to see.
Those are fun. There's one where he was so proud of convincing my parents to buy him this like exercise bike. You know those like old school exercise bikes that have like you can move the arms while you're like pedaling or whatever. He got my parents to buy him one of those, and then he demanded a photo shoot of him with the bike, and like there's photos of like him on the bike, him standing next to the bike in his like tracksuit and stuff, and it's just fucking hilarious.
You know what? I totally understand that. If I'm gonna work out, I want a photo shoot proving I've just worked out. I did that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or it's like, I did that, and then you could feel good about it, but like not do it again because you already have the pictures.
Exactly. And now we have Photoshop, so you could like Photoshop the background a little bit or the color of your shirt, and then you only have to work out once, never again, and you can just send it to people and say that you've done it over and over again.
That's perfect.
Not a bad idea.
I love it.
Disregard my Instagram for the next 2 weeks when it's me in the same tank top, but just different colors. You don't know what that has to do with anything.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
No,
That's my
forget
business.
about it. Just,
Yeah.
you don't know what
Don't
you're
worry
talking
about
about. It's really been awesome chatting with you, Nicole.
It's been nice talking to you. I miss you.
I miss you too. I'm really looking forward to you coming back to Vancouver.
I know, I'm so excited.
Potato's going to be stoked to see you.
Potato's like probably a yam by now. Is that bigger than a potato?
No, she's still, she hasn't grown much. She's still pretty small, but she has a little gray hoodie right now. So she looks like she could be like a furry extra from Rocky all the time.
Okay, because I've been boxing, I've been trying to do like gray sweater, black hoodie underneath, like a la Rocky, a la Creed kind of vibe. So if that's what Potato's doing, I'm like super jealous that she's bitten my style already.
Yeah. Evan got her this little gray hoodie, and like she wears it all the time because she gets cold really easily. So it's like, it was really cold in the store the last time I was there, like a week or so ago, that she was like tucked into a blanket with her hoodie, and she was like, I'm not getting out of the fucking blanket. Like, it's like, you could come pet me here, but it's like, she's like, I'm not leaving the blanket. It was really cute.
Yeah, I feel that. I'm like that in the mornings.
Yeah, I don't really like that either.
No. I had my alarm set this morning, and I just like, I watched it and I could hear it, and I went right back to bed, and then like, you know, when you shoot awake and I like stress sweat, you know, like I was supposed to be up like half an hour ago, but I was so geared on like, I can handle this. I can handle this extra 10-minute nap. This 10-minute nap's going to change my morning. I'm going to feel amazing after these next 10 minutes. When I didn't, felt a little bit worse. But I made it to work on time, so, you know, all good.
Well, that's good, as long as you made it to work on time.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with that. Especially in the before time when I had to be somewhere, I'd be like, oh yeah, it's just like 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes. And then you're like, holy fuck, it's been 40 minutes. I was supposed to be showered and like driving by now. And it's like, yeah.
The before times. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I work from home now, so my commute is like sometimes just picking my phone up and like dialing into a call in bed.
It's a pretty awesome commute. In bed? Is that what you just said?
Sometimes.
Not that bad. Not that bad.
Yeah. Well, like sometimes I'm on these calls that I don't actually have to do anything on. I need to be present because I'm expected to be there. But it's like, I literally have nothing to contribute to this. So it's like, why will I get up early to make it to my computer to just sit and like space out? It's like, I get to space out from bed, and then I'll get like ready to do all the other stuff. So yeah.
You can do that. All power to you. That sounds great.
Well, and that was like another big reason why the studio was like important, because I live in a studio apartment. It's a lovely box, but like living and working at home, it starts to feel like prison sometimes, because it's just I'm in the same space all the time. So yeah, it would be nice to have a different space to go and like be imprisoned into for a while. So there's like a different change of scenery.
It is hard to have your home and office in the same place.
Yeah, well, it at least like when I had a real house, there was like a separate room where it's like, this is my work room. I can just go there. But like even since like Toronto was even worse because like my desk was like at the foot of my bed. So there'd be times when I was in Toronto when the pandemic first started where it was just like, this meeting is so boring. Why am I sitting in my chair? I could just like lay in bed.
I could move over.
Yeah, and it's just like, I'm just getting, it's like, I'm in bed now. Why am I even awake? I don't really need to like pay attention to this. And then someone would be like, Merlin, you okay? It sounds like they're snoring over there. It's like, oh yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. My dog. Anyway, my dog's acting up. Yeah, don't do that anymore. But that was like a, beginning of the pandemic learning lesson,
Yeah.
If you're going to fall asleep,
yeah.
mute yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. That was wise words. You're right. We should all learn from you.
Yeah, and if you're going to go to the bathroom with your laptop, don't leave the webcam on.
Yep. I feel like we all should have learned that one a long time ago. That one might just be on you a little bit. But
That's never happened to me. I've never done that. But this is probably an overshare. But I have this really sweet headset for work. And it has a cool party feature. When the mic is up, it's muted. When I flip it down, I can talk. And so if I'm not on like webcam or whatever, I can just like do whatever. So it's like I'll be like doing dishes or something, and then like just be like, oh yeah, that totally sounds cool, and then back to like doing dishes, and it's given me a lot more time to be productive.
it's actually kind of fun.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
I thought AirPods gave me like freedom to roam, but that's next level almost.
Yeah, and they sound really good. But the thing is, I will never wear them out of my house because I just don't want to look like a gamer outside of my house. Like, I would just feel really weird, like, walking around in public with this.
I don't think you look like a gamer with those on.
Okay. But what if it was like this? Like, if you're walking around in public, someone would be like, what mission is this guy on? Like, did he mix his meds up? Is he confused about things right now or something?
Yeah. And I understand the worry.
Yeah, it's also, it reminds...
I think you can get away with it.
Well, it also reminds me of the people that still wear those, like, old school, like, 2000s Bluetooth, like, headset things that just are, like, the one... And I'm just like, people still wear those in 2022?
You know what I just sent my I have a group chat with my family. I just sent them today. I said I want to bring the pager back.
I can fuck with a pager.
I mean, I was never there for the pager, so it's not like bringing it back, but like I would like to experience the pager. But only for family, just like a couple people.
You know who you should talk to this idea about? You should hit up Ryan Reynolds and like say, you know what Mint Mobile should do? Mint Mobile should bring pagers back.
I think it's a cool idea. Make them cool colors. Maybe pages with pictures. Picture pages.
See,
like flipped pages that flip open with little antennas.
But here's the danger with the pagers, though. If it has photos, you know someone's gonna page you a dick pic.
No. You can only give them to certain people.
Yeah, but it's gonna happen. It just anything that has the ability to have a photo sent through it will eventually have a penis.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's pretty statistically correct. Yes.
It is. It is.
But like a dick pic on a pager is barely a dick pic from what I know of pagers. Right?
Well, and now this is reminding me of the photo business that we came up with the last time we hung out. Do you remember?
Please refresh my memory.
It was the professional dick pic business. You know, it's like LinkedIn photos for your junk. And it was like the whole thing where it's just like, you know, you could have different packages for your package. And there was like, you know, like hair and makeup for it. So it's like you could get some like, you know, blush on there and like, you know, fluff it up a little bit. And then like the premium packages, you would put like a green screen behind it. So it's like you could have your like dick in like really cool places. Like, you know, it could be like, check out my dick in France. Now it's in Egypt. Like, you know, it's in London now. It's a...
Yeah, you're right. Traveling dick. Yeah.
I can't remember.
That's a good business. I stand by that business idea.
I can't remember what we called it though. We had a really clever name for the dick pic side of it, but I do remember the lady side of it. We called it Bush League. We spent a lot of time like coming up with this idea when we were on the photo walk.
I forgot we did that.
Yeah, I feel like someone could make a lot of money if they could handle having that much dick in their life.
Okay.
Some people can. I'm not one of those people. Like I don't want to become that desensitized, you know, where it's just like you just end up handling it like it's meat or something. It's just like, you know, you just sort of mold it to the way it's supposed to be, and then you're just like, you know, done, next.
No, yeah, you don't want that. You don't want to over saturate your market.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
Yeah. yeah, I follow.
But if someone out there takes this idea
sense.
and runs with it, you definitely owe credit to the two of us, because
I want a copy, and I want 10% plus royalties.
You could be the spokesperson for it. I'm not only the founder, but I'm a member too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the family network.
No, it's not. This is not. Very not family friendly. But on that one, you know, we've been talking for like 2 hours now, so I feel like that's probably a good place to sort of like kind of cap it there on, you know, the junk conversation.
I'm really glad we got there. I'm really glad we were able to bring that up. Definitely.
Yeah. You're not going to forget it this time.
No, I won't. Yeah. That somehow went past me. I totally forgot about it. Never thought about it since until just now. Really, really thankful you brought that up. But honestly, pretty good a business idea.
Yeah, it's totally a great business idea. I think it deserves one of these. Oh no, that was the wrong button. No, it doesn't deserve that. It deserves this one.
I think it might have deserved the other one, but
yeah, the first one definitely was a lot more applicable. Yeah,
such a sad soundbite. That's so mean. I never thought I'd get that played for me. Wow. So, thanks.
Well, next time we'll have something a little more cheerful.
I'm really excited to come see you in person, actually, because now it's been too long.
It has been. I'm really looking forward. Hey, we have the same water cups. IKEA, right?
Yeah?
Yeah, water twins. Look at that.
Hey,
Cheers.
I bought this for cheers. This is my backup water. And this is my other backup water because I knew we'd be here for a while.
I'm surprised you haven't had to pee yet.
You know what? We're getting there.
Yeah, me too. Well, I mean, on that note, it's the perfect place to end it there. So thank you, Nicole, for hanging out with me. It was great to see you. Oh, I got to play the thing. So we've got outro music as well.
Okay.
Thanks for hanging out with me. It was so cool to see you and chat with you and hear about your adventures. Thank you to all of your fans who have come and added some interesting commentary.
Thanks for watching, everybody. My first Instagram Live.
It was so much fun. Next week, I'm going to have Ashley Senja on. She is a fantastic photographer from Toronto, and that should be a really interesting chat. And, thank you, Nicole, for hanging out, and thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Stay safe out there. Love you, miss you. We'll see you soon.
Love you, miss you. Bye.
Bye.